Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to be here with you. Today, we'll be exploring ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Our focus will be on what ASEAN is, its role as a regional organization, and how it promotes economic, political, and social cooperation among its member states. We'll also take a close look at the process of ASEAN integration and how it impacts the region as a whole. So let's get started and dive into this fascinating topic. It is important to discuss and focus on the state organization separately and intently because it creates a number of changes and developments in the way our government and private institutions run and manage. Understanding ASEAN's history and purpose is crucial for grasping the significance of regional integration in Southeast Asia. In this part of the lesson, the learners are expected to understand the history, roles, and functions of ASEAN integration. Learners will be able to describe the historical events in Southeast Asia that prompted our leaders to integrate and collaborate with one another. Primarily, the lesson will focus on ASEAN in depth, as it was briefly introduced in the previous lesson. Let's take a closer look at the origins of ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It was primarily created in response to the economic crises that affected most countries in the region. These crises highlighted the need for a collective effort to stabilize and grow the economies of Southeast Asia. As a result, these nations decided to form a coalition, working together to develop and advance the region. This sense of unity and cooperation not only helped address economic challenges, but also prompted other countries in the region to make adjustments. For example, they began to reevaluate their approaches to governance, education, and trade to better align with regional goals and standards. Understanding this history helps us see how ASEAN's formation was driven by a desire for stability and growth, which continues to influence its role today. It's a great example of how shared challenges can lead to stronger regional collaboration, aligning with our overall theme of regional integration and development. This lesson will also shortly tackle the reasons why colleges and universities are aiming for international recognition and membership. We'll explore how this effort can significantly impact the future of learners in our increasingly connected global society. Understanding different perspectives about ASEAN is just part of what we're covering today. The main goal for you as students is to grasp how this integration is important for your own future. You might hear some students complain about new changes like the K-12 curriculum, but if we really look at the bigger picture, their future isn't just about our country anymore. It extends to all of Southeast Asia and even further to the entire world. Now, when we talk about ASEAN integration, it's crucial to see how it can open doors for opportunities, collaboration, and growth across borders. It's about preparing you to be active participants in a global society, where understanding regional cooperation is key. So, the importance of ASEAN integration for your future is not just about policies or agreements. It's about shaping a more interconnected, competitive, and resilient world where your skills and knowledge can thrive beyond national boundaries. On this slide, I want to highlight the significance of the document they signed, which is known as the Bangkok Declaration or the ASEAN Declaration. This historic event took place in the main hall of the Department of Foreign Affairs building in Bangkok, Thailand. It marked the official beginning of ASEAN, an organization that has grown tremendously over the years. Today, ASEAN includes 10 member states and has played a vital role in shaping the economic and political landscape of Southeast Asia. The establishment of ASEAN officially happened on August 8, 1967, when the foreign ministers of Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand came together to sign the Bangkok Declaration. These 5 leaders are often recognized as the pioneers of what has become the most prosperous intergovernmental organization within the developing world. This brief history helps us understand how ASEAN started from a foundational pact among these nations and evolved into a powerful regional entity that promotes stability, economic growth, and cooperation across Southeast Asia. Connecting this to our overall theme, it's clear that ASEAN's origins are rooted in a shared desire for peace and development, a vision that continues to drive its success today. Now, the ASEAN Declaration made it clear that any country in Southeast Asia that shared the association's goals, values, and objectives would be eligible to join. Essentially, this was about inviting nations to come together based on a common purpose. The member countries then declared, according to ASEAN.org, that they shared the collective will of the nations to bind themselves together in friendship and cooperation. They emphasized that through joint efforts and sacrifices, they aimed to secure peace, freedom, and prosperity not just for their current peoples, but for future generations as well. Moving on, ASEAN was established through a very simple document, just a brief booklet with only 5 articles, written in plain language. This made the foundation accessible and easy to understand. The core idea was that ASEAN would serve as an association for regional cooperation among Southeast Asian countries. Its main goal was to promote collaboration across various areas like economics, society, culture, technology, and education. Importantly, ASEAN also committed to upholding the principles of the United Nations Charter, especially justice and the rule of law, because these are essential for fostering peace and stability in the region. So, in essence, ASEAN was designed as a practical, inclusive organization that aimed to strengthen regional ties and promote shared growth and security. Let's start by looking at the origins of ASEAN. Before ASEAN was officially formed, there was an organization called the Association of Southeast Asia, or ASA, which was established in 1961. This was founded by just 3 countries, the Philippines, Thailand, and the Federation of Malaya. It was an early attempt to foster regional cooperation. Now, if we consider the broader context, the ASEAN region is quite vast, covering about 1.7 million square miles and home to nearly 600 million people. This area is incredibly diverse, not just in geography, but also in cultures, economies, and political systems. That diversity is a key aspect of ASEAN's character. As the years went on, more countries saw the value in regional cooperation. Brunei Darussalam, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia all joined ASEAN in the subsequent decades. This expansion brought the total number of member states up to 10, making the organization more representative of Southeast Asia as a whole. Let's also remember the founding members of ASEAN, which were Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. They came together in 1967 to establish ASEAN as we know it today. Their goal was to promote economic growth, social progress, and regional stability. So, in summary, ASEAN's history is rooted in earlier efforts at regional cooperation, and over time, it grew to include a diverse set of nations, reflecting the dynamic and multifaceted nature of Southeast Asia. This historical background is essential to understanding how ASEAN has become a key player in the region and beyond. According to Chung-In Moon, the aims and purpose of ASEAN integration were really focused on fostering regional cooperation and building a sense of unity among the member states. The ultimate goal was to create a more prosperous and stable Southeast Asia, where all countries could thrive together. To achieve this, ASEAN launched a variety of initiatives and programs designed to strengthen economic, social, and cultural ties. These efforts are about more than just economic growth. They're about building a sense of shared identity and mutual development. ASEAN was founded with the broader purpose of accelerating economic growth, promoting social progress, and supporting cultural development across the region. At the same time, peace and security were core priorities. You see, the main projects involve fostering cooperation for peace and shared prosperity. This includes joint research initiatives, technological cooperation among governments, and economic programs aimed at boosting trade both within ASEAN and with the wider world. Overall, these aims and projects highlight how ASEAN's integration is about creating a connected, resilient, and thriving Southeast Asia, aligning perfectly with our theme of regional unity and development. Let's take a closer look at the AEC Blueprint 2025 and its key characteristics. It envisions 5 main qualities that will shape ASEAN's future. First, we aim for a highly integrated and cohesive economy, where our markets are more connected and synchronized. Second, we want ASEAN to be a competitive, innovative, and dynamic region, driving growth through new ideas and technologies. Third, enhanced connectivity and sectoral cooperation are crucial, enabling seamless movement of goods, services, and people across member states. Fourth, we focus on building a resilient, inclusive, people-oriented, and people-centered ASEAN, making sure everyone benefits from our progress. And finally, we aspire to be a global ASEAN, more engaged and influential on the world stage. One of the most notable aspects of this blueprint is the increased emphasis on fostering innovation, boosting regional productivity, and strengthening ASEAN's role within global value chains. Now, according to the 2019 Asian Integration Report, ASEAN integration is primarily driven by economic goals. It's about creating a more unified and prosperous region. Remember, the ASEAN community was officially established in 2015, bringing together three pillars: the ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC, the ASEAN Sociocultural Community, and the ASEAN Political Security Community. This community was further reinforced by the adoption of the ASEAN Community Vision 2025, or ACV 2025, along with detailed blueprints that map out ASEAN's path toward deeper integration by 2025. So, overall, the focus remains on economic growth, stability, and regional cooperation, building a stronger, more connected ASEAN for the future. Now, let's talk about how ASEAN companies are navigating the evolving landscape. As the region becomes more interconnected, these companies are facing increased competition from other regional players. This means they need to be more adaptable, understanding different markets and practices to stay competitive. Thanks to unified standards and regulations across ASEAN, barriers to doing business within the region have significantly decreased. This harmonization makes it easier for companies to operate across borders, fostering smoother trade and investment flows. In fact, ASEAN integration has created many new market opportunities. Businesses can now tap into a larger, more connected regional market, which facilitates both trade and investment. Overall, these developments highlight how regional integration is not just about cooperation. It actively drives growth, opens doors for businesses, and encourages innovation across the region. Now, let's talk about how ASEAN integration has really influenced the education systems across its member countries. As the region works towards deeper economic and political cooperation, there's a growing need for harmonized educational standards. This means that countries are working together to create common benchmarks and qualifications, making it easier for students and professionals to move and work across borders. Additionally, increased collaboration among universities is becoming more important than ever. We're seeing more joint programs, student exchange initiatives, and shared research projects, all aimed at fostering a more interconnected and competitive educational landscape. These developments are crucial because they support the broader goal of regional integration, creating a cohesive, skilled workforce that can contribute to ASEAN's economic growth. So, in essence, the push for harmonized standards and collaboration is not just about education itself, but about strengthening the entire region's development and unity. Let's talk about how ASEAN supports regional and global educational commitments by promoting lifelong learning grounded in core values like fairness, inclusivity, and excellence. This means we're not just focusing on one level of education, but developing future-ready skills across all stages, from basic, middle, and high school to technical and vocational training. Our specific priorities include making sure education is inclusive, so everyone has access, and investing in the development of our educators' skills. We also recognize the importance of mobilizing resources, which involves collaborating with various stakeholders to ensure that education initiatives are well-funded and effective. Within ASEAN, education truly acts as a powerful transforming force. High-quality, inclusive education is crucial for sustainable growth in the region. When education improves, we see better health outcomes, stronger social bonds, gender equality, peaceful communities, and better employment opportunities. Ultimately, education equips our human resources with the adaptability, competitiveness, and readiness needed to face an ever-changing future. This is central to our broader goal of regional integration, where a well-educated population drives progress and prosperity for all. Another challenge we face with ASEAN integration is the need to develop new strategies to stay competitive. Traditional methods that worked before may no longer be enough in this more dynamic environment. Overall, integration has created both opportunities and obstacles for the education industry. Institutions must adapt and innovate to thrive amid increasing competition. On the positive side, ASEAN integration has expanded the market significantly, allowing universities and education businesses to reach a much larger pool of potential students and investors. This broader reach can translate into higher profits and more resources for growth and development. However, it's not all smooth sailing. The increased competition means local institutions find it harder to attract qualified candidates, especially since international companies and universities can offer higher salaries and more attractive packages. So, in summary, ASEAN integration opens doors to new opportunities, but it also demands that educational institutions rethink their strategies to remain competitive. It's about balancing the potential for growth with the need to innovate and adapt in this more crowded landscape. While the ASEAN integration has brought many opportunities, it's important to acknowledge the challenges as well. For example, upgrading infrastructure has been necessary to support new programs and collaborations. We also need to provide additional language training to ensure that both students and educators can effectively communicate across the region. And of course, maintaining the high quality of education remains a top priority. The Philippine government has been actively working to address these issues, making sure our education system is ready to fully benefit from ASEAN integration. This integration has truly made a significant impact on our education system. As we align our standards and curriculum with our ASEAN neighbors, we open up a world of possibilities for students and educators alike. We're seeing more student and faculty exchanges, which enrich our learning and teaching experiences. There are also more collaborative research projects that foster regional innovation. And importantly, academic qualifications are now more easily recognized across the region, giving our graduates greater mobility and opportunities. Overall, ASEAN integration is helping us grow and adapt, creating a more connected and competitive educational environment. It's a vital step forward in strengthening our country's position in the region and preparing our students for a globalized world. Despite the Philippines having high college graduation rates, it's important to recognize that our educational system still lags behind many of our ASEAN neighbors. According to the Department of Education in the Philippines, as reported by CMEO in NOTEC, this gap highlights the urgent need for a comprehensive overhaul of how we approach education. While we've made progress, other ASEAN countries have improved their K-12 curricula significantly, which has boosted the overall quality of education. Their systems enable graduates to compete more effectively on a global scale. This comparison underscores the importance of not just increasing graduation rates, but also enhancing the quality of education to truly prepare our students for the challenges beyond the classroom. It's a crucial part of the overall theme that meaningful change is necessary to elevate our educational standards and ensure our students are truly prepared for the future. With this approach, Philippine education will become more similar to that of the most developed ASEAN countries. The K-12 toolkit for basic education institutions is really the first step in this transition, and it starts from the ground up. By implementing these tools at the foundational level, we're ensuring a stronger, more standardized system. Additionally, aligning our educational institutions with international standards, especially by synchronizing the academic calendar, will make it easier for students to pursue higher education abroad or elsewhere. This synchronization helps create a more seamless educational pathway, ultimately elevating our system and opening up more opportunities for our learners. It's all about making Philippine education more competitive and compatible with global benchmarks, which ties into our broader goal of development and progress. Now, let's talk about the standardization of education across ASEAN. One key strategy here is adopting common K-12 basic education curricula throughout the region. This helps create a more uniform educational foundation, making it easier to implement regional modifications and improvements. It's about building a shared understanding and ensuring that students across ASEAN are on similar academic footing. For the Philippines, this means there's a clear need to enhance our education system so that our graduates can stay competitive in the increasingly integrated ASEAN workforce. We want our students to be prepared not just locally, but also to collaborate and thrive regionally. Ultimately, what this all points to is that by integrating and standardizing educational systems, ASEAN countries can work more effectively together. When our educational standards align, it fosters better cooperation, more seamless mobility of students and professionals, and a stronger regional community overall. This is a vital step toward realizing the broader goal of regional unity and shared prosperity. These efforts are all about improving the quality and making higher education in ASEAN more competitive. At the same time, they help build a shared regional identity and a sense of community among the institutions. When ASEAN universities work together, they can combine their strengths and resources to better prepare students for the challenges of the 21st century global economy. You see, collaboration is at the heart of this. ASEAN universities and colleges are actively engaging in academic exchanges and regional integration. This includes mobility programs for students and faculty, which allow for greater exchange and understanding. They're also working on joint research projects, sharing knowledge and innovation across borders. Additionally, there's a focus on developing common curricula and qualification frameworks. This helps ensure that qualifications are recognized across the region, making it easier for students to move and work throughout ASEAN. All these initiatives are connected to the larger goal of fostering resilience, adaptability, and a strong regional identity through higher education collaboration. Sharing information and resources is essential, and it will come from working together to develop a unified higher education sector across Southeast Asia. This collaboration involves both top-down approaches, like policy harmonization, and bottom-up efforts, such as institutional cooperation. By doing this, we can strengthen the positions of our institutions in the global competition. Furthermore, Southeast Asia should aim to establish itself as a hub for universities that work well together to tackle global issues. This creates opportunities for international scholars and students to engage in meaningful research and problem-solving on a global scale. To boost the region's competitiveness, we need to standardize key processes like qualification certification, credit recognition, and quality assurance. While legislators are responsible for leading these top-down efforts, the success of this harmonization depends heavily on strong collaboration with academic institutions and students. After all, everyone benefits when we work together effectively. In June 2022, the roadmap on the ASEAN Higher Education Space 2025 was officially launched. Its main goal is to improve connectivity by making higher education more accessible and ensuring recognition across the region. The objectives of this roadmap are focused on creating a more integrated higher education space, fostering greater mobility for students and staff, and promoting cooperation among ASEAN member countries to build a more competitive and innovative higher education landscape. So, in conclusion, the integration of ASEAN has truly had a significant impact on the education systems of its member countries, including our own, the Philippines. We've seen how standardizing education across the region and fostering greater collaboration between colleges and universities have opened up new opportunities for both students and faculty. These developments not only enhance mobility and exchange, but also encourage the sharing of knowledge and best practices. As the ASEAN community continues to evolve, it's going to be essential for the Philippines to stay adaptable, updating our education system to meet the demands of this changing landscape. This way, we can ensure our students are well prepared and competitive in a regional and global context. Now, as we look at the final slide, I want to highlight that, like any organization, ASEAN faces its own set of challenges and issues. However, what's truly encouraging is that through this regional integration, member countries can connect and interact more easily than ever before. This connectivity isn't just about governments. It extends to citizens, allowing them to access opportunities across the entire ASEAN region, breaking down borders and fostering greater mobility. This integration is arguably one of ASEAN's most significant contributions. It helps countries that might be facing financial, economic, or political difficulties by enabling them to receive support and assistance from more stable and stronger economies within the region. This kind of solidarity is vital for regional stability and growth. Additionally, ASEAN is focusing on educational collaboration. By working together, member states aim to develop and standardize educational systems, which in turn will strengthen the region's workforce. Aligning education standards encourages mobility and ensures that the region remains competitive globally. In summary, ASEAN's integration not only promotes economic and political stability, but also fosters cooperation in education and social development. It's a powerful mechanism that helps lift all member states, contributing to a more resilient and unified region. This synergy is essential as we continue to pursue shared growth and prosperity in Southeast Asia.